We are live. Yes.
Wow, great.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Sophie.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? You
Good.
look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank
I
you.
love the
I
kids'
have
drawings on the back.
my kids' art in the back.
Oh, yeah. I love the one right behind your head, especially.
The little
Hey,
monster. Yeah, I love monster.
yeah.
Yeah, I did like all kind of stuff. Oh well. So today we are here to talk about the challenge you've been asking for. So
Yes.
since you started doing practicing the tools of access, has your life changed?
My life has changed tremendously. Not my outer life, but my inner life.
Yeah.
Right? When I first came to Access, I knew that there was something that I was meant to do, but I didn't quite know what that was going to be, right? So there's a lot of confusion, a lot of just, it's like, well, do I do this? Do I do that? Where do I go, right? And so what I've gotten from Access is an incredible clarity as to what do I want to create in my life.
Do you mean that the tools of access empowered you to know that you know?
Actually, it did. Can you imagine that?
Wow! I mean, what?
Oh,
Okay, I'm
yes.
going to be a little bit silly today because there's like so much going on in my universe right now. It's like intense, but so let's just be a little bit silly. So yeah,
Okay.
the mantra of access, not the mantra, the target of access is to empower you to know that you know. So that's why I was very happy that Amy said the first thing she said is like, I actually know.
And that is one of the wonderful things. Actually, it's like an oxymoron in Access, because the fact is that one of the great tools that we have is to simply ask a question, right? And we don't have to have an answer. All we have to do, ask a question and trust that inside of us or outside of us or wherever the information is coming from, right, that it will sort of bubble up and it will just happen organically and easily, and there's no struggle. It's just ease and grace.
Yes, and for me also asking questions allows me to become the energy. So before I
Yes.
started Access, I did a lot of law of attraction work.
Uh-huh.
They always talked about being the vibration of what you wanted to create. So, they're like, feel good because what you want to create feels good. Da, da, da. But what I love with questions is that when I ask a question, I'm becoming the energy of what it is I'm creating. And so it's even like the universe can deliver even more than what
Yes.
I even conceived before, because now I'm matching that energy.
Yeah, and that's part of the magic of Access and asking questions, is that we don't always have this very big, broad overview that really knows what's coming, into our lives or how to let go of limitations. But there is some, innate wisdom in all of us that we just find the answers once we're willing to ask a question.
Yes.
It brings the energy to us.
Yeah, and you talked about limitations, and like when we do Access Foundation at level 1, we let go of a lot of limitations. We use all the really amazing potent clearings, but it's so funny. It's like with all these limitations gone, at the end of the day, what I realize is it's my choice. No matter what, it's my choice. And
You know how radical that is, Sophie? I mean, that is, there's been a lot of talk in the last couple of years about evolution,
mhm.
right? And where we're going, I think, as a species, or I don't know what we are, right, is we're, we're able to make choices and go, you know what, I'm going here, instead of keeping our eyes on the past. Right? Instead of being trapped in the past, trapped in our emotions, trapped in our unhappiness, in our confusions, blah, 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 blah.
So I have a confession to make.
Okay.
So about 4 days ago, I had 3 days in a row that were bad, like bad days, where I was crying and I felt bad about myself and I didn't want to do anything and nothing was working out and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Did you have fun going through all of that?
Did! Yes, that was where I was coming to. It's like, you know what? I was just enjoying my bad days because, well, I don't have that many bad days anymore, and I realized that I was focusing so much on feeling good, of feeling great, creating all this fantastic thing that I was just not also enjoying. Hey, you know what? Sometimes crying feels good, and having a fit about something feels good, and it was really cool. And then yeah, of course I asked questions, and yeah, of course I poke and pod and let go of stuff and became aware and all of this good stuff. Of course I got all the yummy, but the fact that I was not judging myself for having 3 bad days in a row was fantastic.
Great. That reminds me that one of the things that Gary Douglas, who is the founder of Access, right, has taught us is that you're going to, if you can accept and allow both the positive and the negative, right, whether it is an emotion that makes you sad or depressed or blah, blah, right, or an emotion that makes you happy and joyful, right, to not judge either one of those and to not make any of that significant is such a revolutionary way of being in the world, and it gives us such incredible freedom and such incredible choice, right? We can decide where are we going to go, how are we going to react, right? And literally, and from one second to another, profoundly change who we are in the world. Isn't that great?
That's how great it is! I can do sound effects on Google Hangout, so we're having a blast!
Yes. And Sophie, that reminds me, we were talking before, and you had asked me to mention that in one of my prior jobs, I used to be a psychotherapist, right? Yeah. And I stopped being a psychotherapist because, frankly, I couldn't stand all the stories that people were wanting to say, because people love to tell you stories, love to be stuck in them, right? And they don't really want to move. They don't want to get out of their stories. And Access is for people who really want to make changes in their lives.
Yeah. So,
right?
Yeah, go ahead. I feel like you have not finished your thought.
Well, I just want to say, we have so many incredible tools in Access, right? So that we can choose, so that we can see what else is possible. And it's so simple. It's so easy. And that's one of the other things that when I stopped being a psychotherapist, I said there's got to be a way that is so much easier, much quicker, much more effective for people who truly want to change their lives and have more ease and glory and happiness and all of that stuff in their lives.
Yeah, and something else I wanted to mention, because I do this radio show. I do it in English and French, and I got somebody who told me that I was providing too much information too fast, right? And I realized that we have the point of view that when something is new, that it takes time, or it can be difficult because we're not used to it, and it takes work and all that. And one of the things that I got from being in Access classes with Gary, with other fast-steaders, was that it's like that. It's
exactly
10 seconds, not even 10 seconds. Sometimes it's like a moment. And that too can be an interesting point of view, which is one of the tools we have, that change takes time. So what will it take for us to look at what else we want to create in our lives without judgment, without significance, and then make it happen like that? So why come to a class, like you can, you know, a lot of people say, well, isn't there a book where I can learn this? Yeah, there is. And actually, Gary is very generous, and there's a lot of information out there that you can get, absolutely, and get the books, get the tools and all of that. Mm-hmm. But here's what I found.
Okay.
So I found that by being in class, asking all my stupid questions, I mean, there's no stupid questions, but all my questions to the facilitator, and listening to what other people were asking, in that moment, I was able to choose something different because I had no excuse. I was in there to change. I was choosing it. In that moment, I changed. And I remember after my first foundation level 1, it was like I did not even know who I was. I went to my closet. There was nothing I wanted to wear. I went to the mall. I got lost in the mall that I know by heart. It was like my life was so different.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's what I wanted to add to that.
Well, you know, Sophie, the foundation, I mean, I've taken a lot of classes. You've taken a lot of classes through Access, you know, read all the books that Gary and Dane have written. But I will tell you, foundation and level 1 remains my absolute favorite class. And it's the class where I personally have experienced the most change out of any class.
Yeah. And if you don't mind me sharing.
Please.
I remember, because you did Foundation level 1 with me.
Yes, I did.
I remember that you had there was something, you had defined something about you, and we don't need to go into what it was, but you had defined something about you, and you were asking me, you know, what do I do with it, or how do I change it? And I did not answer. I let you be with it because I knew you would get what would work for you in the end. And I remember toward the end, you're like, wow, I totally get it. It's not a big deal. It's not even significant. It was so cool because it's like you got it on your own, and you realize you could choose that, and then you could choose something else if you wanted to. And I was like giggling inside. It was so much fun to see that. And I see it all the time. I see people, you know, in class, you know, wanting to change things, asking for facilitation, and you know, sometimes it helps, like we ask questions, and sometimes we're like, well, let's see if you get the answer later on. And all the time people are like, oh my gosh, I get it, I totally get it, I just love it. So much fun.
Well, it is great. I mean, personally, you know, to have your life change, this is, people ask me, what is this like? And honestly, I go, you know what, whatever you've done before, this is like getting on a rocket ship and blasting off, because you're going to, if you really start using the tools of Access, your life changes, right? It changes in the second, it changes in, you know, however long it takes you. You know, it just will change, and you will never see the world in the same way again.
Yeah, and also the changes, you know, earlier you said that your life changed inside probably more than outside. So what I realized is that I just have more options now. It's like nothing is impossible. Everything that I can choose becomes a possibility, and I can, it's just like by being me, things will be easier. Things will show up in ways that I could not even imagine.
Right.
So it's like this whole, you know, the mantra of Access, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Mm-hmm. A lot of time people are triggered by that because they're like, well, life is not easy. And you're right, life is not easy. That's not what we're saying. But it's the tools of Access bring the ease to everything in life.
Well, it's how you relate to the issue, right? That is really determines whether or not you experience it with ease, right? Just like when you were talking about the last couple of days, you know, in which you were having upsets, it's like you could have made it significant. You could have, you know, judged yourself. You could have been critical of yourself. You could have done all these things, instead, if you just hold yourself with just, it's an interesting point of view, right? It gives us so much space, you know, to go any different direction that we want to go in, you know, with whatever we're experiencing, and that's the ease. Does that make sense, Sophie?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, to me, the interesting point of view is like money in the bank, okay?
Yeah.
It's just, so this is what I love from one of the first tools. I remember first tools I learned was if you agree or align with something, or if you agree, align, or resist or defend against it, then you make that solid. And so Gary was saying, when you receive a point of view, you make $5,000 more that year. When you react to a point of view, you lose $10,000 more that year. And to me, the interesting point of view is the tool that I use all the time to receive judgments from people and from myself too.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Interesting point of view. They have that point of view. Oh, interesting. They're judging me. Oh, interesting. I'm judging myself. And so that's why I played the money in the bank. And I see Gary doing things to kind of like trigger people's judgments of him all the time. And it just cracks me up because he has no problem whatsoever in being judged, and so it creates more ease in his world.
Yeah.
And I mean, we live in Los Angeles, and come on, it's like in this town, people have a job where they get to judge you, okay? Casting directors and producers and, you know, journalists, and I mean, everybody in this town is like, who can I judge next, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, Sophie, so I remember one time I was living in Beverly Hills, right? And I had gained some weight, and I remember walking down one of the main streets, Beverly Drive in Beverly Hills, and I just watched people's reaction to me as I was walking down the street. And because I had gained weight, it was almost like I was invisible, right? Whereas when I was thinner, you know, I would get these looks, right? And so it's not even the words. It's not even, it's like people just will judge you based upon how you look. You don't have to say anything.
I know.
So if you know, for me, walking down the street, I was like, well, isn't that interesting? Right? That was my point of view. It's like, I want to watch this.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to judge myself. You know, it's like, I just want to watch and observe.
I bet you made a lot of money that year.
I did make a lot of money walking down that street.
Woohoo! Amy! Okay.
Oh.
You know, I also want to keep this this Google Hangout short and sweet because I love to tease people, and I love to give them a taste of what's possible and then bring them on. So let's see. Do we want to give people one more tool? I mean, we've talked about a lot of things already.
Yeah. You want to do 10 seconds?
Sure.
Because that has had a profound influence on my life. Let me just say really quickly, right? Like you and like a lot of people, there are lots of things I'm interested in doing, right? I could go, you know, down path A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, right? There's so many opportunities I have. And part of the confusion that I've had in my life is, well, what do I do? You know, I start down one path, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that. Let me go to another one, right? And so there's been a lot of confusion inside of me. And one of the gifts that I got from Access is a tool that's called the 10 seconds. And what that is that you live your life in 10-second increments, right? Yeah. And understanding that has given me tremendous freedom, tremendous choice. So when I start to go, oh, well, I want to do, you know, I don't know, whatever it is. I want to go to Rome, right? And I decide, no, I want to go to London. No, I want to go to Greece, right? It's like I can do each one of those for 10 seconds, and it's absolutely perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
That to me, it's like I never knew how much I was actually doing until I used the 10 seconds, because people say you have to focus on something to do it well, you know,
Yes.
and I never quite got that, so it was always frustrating to me because I would do something and then right away I would have the people's voices in my head, well, you do it too fast. It's not possible to do it so fast and not doing wrong, so you have done something wrong. Then I was looking for what I was doing wrong, and I was bored by the time because oh no, 10 seconds, come on, 10 seconds. And it also gave me the freedom to choose again and again and again. I was no longer stuck in what I had chosen. It was a continuous choice. So I could say, okay, I'm going to be doing this for 2 hours. And then, you know, every so often, hey, is this what I want to keep doing right now? Is this what I want to keep doing right now? And enjoy both ways. So it was like such an amazing aha moment for me that, oh my gosh, I can actually be as fast as 10 seconds, sometimes even a little bit faster.
Yes.
Which is frustrating sometimes. Now, when I speak to people, I'm like, how come you haven't gotten yet? But,
I can relate.
I'm better at that. I'm getting better at that. So, so yeah, the 10 seconds is a total freedom, and at the same time, really makes me aware of how I choose to live my life. So makes me aware of what works and doesn't work for me.
Yes. Yes. And what I find when I talk with people, and when they get that they only have to choose for 10 seconds, right, there is tremendous relief.
Yeah.
Tremendous, like, oh, you mean I don't have to keep like feeling bad. I don't have to keep being depressed. I can make another choice, right? And the 10 seconds can apply to anything. Like when I got married, Sophie, I don't know if I told you this. When this was before Access, right? You know, we're doing our wedding vows, right? And my husband does, you know, the very traditional wedding vow. My wedding vow was included the sentence, won't be together for as long as we're going in the same direction, at the same time, at the same speed.
I love it.
Right, that was my version of 10 seconds.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
Yeah, so and you use the 10-second increment, right, in so many different areas of your life to create choice.
Yes. Yes, and I love what you said that, and I have to do a sound effect on that, that you mean we don't have to be depressed for more than 10 seconds? You know, one of the things I say to people is like, you know, you may be sad after you do foundation level 1, and people are like, why? And I say, because you have no more problems. And you can be missing your problems.
Yeah, and that's revolutionary. I mean, to think that we can choose whether to stay in our problems, to sit in them, right, or literally in a moment to make another choice.
Yeah.
It's all up to us.
So the other thing is you may become so joyful that you get kicked out of places. So I was in Venice. Having dinner with my parents, and this was during a class that an access class that I was part of in Venice, Italy. And we're in this restaurant, and there's this other table far away, so I can't see who's at the table, and they're laughing and laughing and laughing, and my mom is like, "Oh my gosh, they are so loud! Are they your friends?" Because she everybody in town was my friend. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go check. So I go to the table, and there were people that were close with me. And then the best thing is we get out of the restaurant, and we go like far away from the restaurant, and then there's a group of people behind us that is talking loud and being happy. And my mom turns to me jokingly, and she said, "Are they your friends?" And I look around, and there were people from us. So it's like, yeah, we're happy.
Yes.
We're very happy. All right, so I would like to wrap this up. So June 4th, Access Bars. June 5 and 6, Access Foundation. June 7 and 8, Access Level 1. Where? In Los Angeles, California.
How's it getting better than that, LA?
With the beautiful Amy and Sophie. And we will not have any fun. No.
Yes. Yeah, so if you really, don't want to be happy, don't want to have fun, please don't come.
You don't.
Right?
It's so funny because as you're saying this, my phone is playing with a happy song. All right. Do you have anything else would you like to add, Amy?
Oh, I really just want to invite people to be who they are, to just be you.
Yeah.
It's the greatest gift in the world to know that you really are okay, however you are, happy, sad, neutral, it's all okay. So come and play with us.
It's all okay. And yeah, we'd like to invite you to come and play with us. So there's many ways you can find out. Go to the accessconsciousness.com website and look us up. Email us. My email is Sophie, SOPHIE, .mihalko, MIHALKO, @gmail.com. Amy, what's your email?
My email is Amy, AMY, @createyourdestiny.com. So CREATEYOURDESTINY.com.
He knows what to spell too. Okay. So come email us, especially if you're like, I'd like to come, but. So what we want to do is we want to talk about the but, okay? Not your butt, but what comes after the butt. All right, Amy. Well, if that's okay with you, I would like to celebrate this Google Hangout with you.
Yay!
Thank you so much. This was super fun, and don't hesitate to join us. Bye-bye.
Bye.